everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Okay, I am very seldomly do I talk about sports on my show, but dang, that was a heck of a run by the Pacers. Oh, my goodness. That was a heck of a run. And man, for it to end the way it did, big ups to Tyrese Halliburton. I hope you have a speedy recovery. And Pacer fans, I don't know how we're going to recover. We get so close. We have an amazing team, and then we have the brawl. Or we have a great team, and then we run into Shaq and Kobe. Or we have a great team, and then the Knicks do what they do. I mean, we get so close. This was a close call. I mean, Game 7, and we couldn't pull it out. And I have to keep everything in perspective. They're still millionaires, but wasn't it fun? Like, everybody was counting us out every round. Every round they were counting the Pacers out, and the Pacers went to the finals, Game 7 of the finals. Big ups to that Pacer team. Y'all, congratulations on an amazing season. Hopefully next year, we get a good backup point guard to get us through the season, to go with TJ McConnell. He was dope, wasn't he? He was dope. And I also want to say goodbye to DeWanna Bonner. That was the shortest date I've ever had. She was here and gone. I don't know why she gone. She gone. Fever. I don't know. That the season is kind of weird. 7-7. But Indiana basketball is special. So I wanted to start the show off because, gosh, if I told y'all that I have watched, Game 6 over and over again, or watched the Pacers beat down Cleveland in that first half, I did that. So sports, that's all the sports you get. Not doing anymore, but I just had to give a shout out to my guys. Congratulations, Pacers. All right, I got a rant. The Indianapolis Star reports, when Governor Mike Braun replaced the entire board of the Indiana Economic Development Corp, he gave some of his spots to large donors. His firing of the previous 8 board members, June 23rd, is in keeping with Braun's effort to cut ties with the previous administration and overhaul the beleaguered quasi-state agency that has caught criticism over transparency concerns. Indeed, he has a very different vision for IEDC. While former Governor Holcomb wanted to broker large high-tech industry deals, Braun wants to turn the IEDC's attention more toward homegrown, small to mid-sized mainstream businesses. I don't think anything's wrong with that. But he differs from his predecessor in another way. Of Braun's 9 new appointees, several gave significant sums to his gubernatorial campaign, totaling more than $250,000. Now, some people will say that this is not a big deal. I, on the other hand, think it might be problematic. Braun said campaign donations did not figure into his decision on appointments. Okay. Indiana business executives, among whom Braun counts himself, supported him heavily in the election, and it also is the case that he wanted to pick entrepreneurs for his board. I picked the people that I've known to be the most entrepreneurial, and when you're mostly supported by them, I'm not going to go after the standard cardboard cutout that would normally get on boards. Okay, see, I think my biggest problem is that I really don't like Mike Braun or any of his plans. Like, I don't see anything that he's doing so far that has been, all the way beneficial to communities. I mean, we're already laying off people. We're laying off people at the school for the deaf because of his budget cuts. And he didn't do anything about property taxes that he said he was going to do something about. And so now, he's got his gang of 9 that are, most of them donated to his campaign. You don't think that those folks are going to prioritize some of their interests? I mean, the IEDC has been problematic for a while, right? We know this. But stacking it, and I'm not saying, we don't know if that's what these guys are going to do. right? These guys may, look at their board work and go, hey, this is a great way for me to give back and I'm going to do everything right, right? They could, they might, but I doubt it. Let's keep our fingers crossed that if they really are prioritizing small businesses, right, homegrown businesses, maybe they'll do those in some of our more smaller and rural towns that need some tax revenue so they can stop leeching off of Indianapolis. My bad, small towns. But y'all know some of y'all are not, y'all don't have enough people to have a decent tax base. And so some of your money comes from Marion County and Allen County and Vanderburgh County, right? You do know that. That's just like California takes care of Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi. It just is. There's none of that. The tax base isn't. So hopefully, as they think about, economic development, it's not just in, Indianapolis. Maybe they will spread it around and hopefully they'll do something positive for some of our small and more rural towns because they need it. They need it, especially when, they still don't have high-speed internet out there. Yes, that's the bane of my existence. The Indianapolis Capital Chronicle reports, Indiana has used more than $491,000 in public funds to defend Attorney General Todd Rokita in multiple disciplinary investigations and formal ethics cases, according to new records obtained by the Indiana Capital Chronicle. The state paid 4 law firms a combined $491,508 between 2022 and 2025 to represent Rokita in at least 6 separate matters before the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission. Only 2 of the investigations resulted in formal disciplinary charges. You can find all this information out in the Indiana's transparency portal. It shows the firms, how much they spent. But Democrat Ed Delaney, a longtime lawyer from Indianapolis, maintained that taxpayers shouldn't be footing the bill. We're paying 4 law firms close to $500,000 so that Todd Rokita can keep his law license and stay in office. That's a campaign expense, not something the public should have to fund. I actually think he's right. I think Ed Delaney is spot on with this one. First of all, stop doing dumb stuff, Todd Rokita. Oh wait, you can't. It's in your blood. You have no control over how you behave because you are a Trumpite. You're a maggot. You want to be Trump Jr. You want to do all those things and you find yourself getting in trouble and people call you out on your nonsense. So you think you're supposed to just be able to get away with it. But I guess you are because we're paying your bill. We're paying his bill, y'all. We're paying Todd Rokita's law bills and it's wrong. And I think we ought to do a more stringent job of holding him accountable to some of the stuff that he does. I don't think that we hold him accountable enough. Guys, Todd Rokita is bad for our state. And I know he just won re-election and there's not another election for another 3.5 years. But let's start thinking about who we want to run as the next attorney general. Let's start getting them out there and helping them raise money and talking about the things that matter, right? Let's get them the support that they need because all we got to do, guys. The strategy is easy. I mean, I know everybody wants to change the minds of MAGAs and Republicans. We don't have to do that. All we have to do is get our people to the polls. All we have to do is get our like-minded people to the polls to vote. We have to improve our voter turnout in Indiana. Yes, I know that there are a lot of roadblocks in the way that Republicans have put in place to make it harder for us to vote. I know that. I know that oh too well. But if we want to flip this seat, that's what we have to focus on. Because Todd Rokita is spending our money. And with Mike Braun's budget cuts, he's laying people off. And he's brought in a whole new economic development team that may or may not look out for the welfare of the entire state or everybody that's in it. I mean, we're in a world of hurt right now. I mean, I might, me, I try to stay out of that federal mess, but lying ass Trump said he hates wars, but he's bombing people. So here we go. Here we go. He's bombing people. He calls people that are in the military suckers and losers, but he's bombing people and ready to send your children off to war. Now, I know that there's no boots on the ground right now, but, with the brilliance, sarcasm, 100%, of Hegseth, ain't no telling what's going to happen. That's a clown. Have you watched his press conferences? He's such a clown. This is what we're working with, y'all. So here in Indiana, we have to start making sure that Mike Braun and Ty Rakita, and we talked about Diego Morales last week, his unaccounted for funds that he's spending on trucks. Lieutenant Governor, his exorbitant expenses. They didn't spend money like it ain't nothing, but ask you to tighten your belt. They spend your money like it ain't nothing and ask you to tighten your belt. And then they want to have the audacity to blame everything on immigration. Ha ha. Ain't that a mess? They have a unique way of convincing people who are economically challenged that their policies to improve the lives of super wealthy people works for them. So y'all, it's time for us to get out there and keep talking to people. We can't give up hope. We can't hide our heads in the sand. You know what I'm saying? We got work to do. And it starts now. You should have took the last 6 months, right, to get rejuvenated. That's what I did. Step back from some boards, step back from some of my responsibilities just to kind of take 2025 to get my head right so that I can get back in this fight. Because it's a never-ending fight. Because you see what's happening. I will talk about city council at the end of the show. But that's my rant for now. And here is my digital ad. Y'all, look, I'm still a public speaker. I still fix stuff. I still have digital design. So Indiana Zone is here for you. Check it out. Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. Listen, I do what I do because I love doing it. So I wake up in the morning, I work for Act Blue, I try to help people fundraise, and then in the evening, I'm either giving speeches or doing digital content because this is what I know how to do, and I bring what I bring to the movement. And everybody, you all have something unique to bring to the movement. But sometimes, y'all know I'm party centered, right? Y'all know that I am a Democrat. I have done a lot of work with the Democratic Party. But not everybody wants to be labeled a Democrat, and I recognize that. But they are also left of center, right? And they see what is happening around the country, around the state, and they want to get involved, but they don't necessarily want to be called a Democrat. Well, tonight I'm going to talk to someone from Indivisible Central Indiana who would give us an insight on how you can get involved with the issues that matter to you, and it's not necessarily with the party. And that is Ben Baranko of Indivisible Central Indiana. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
First of all, the first thing I said when you logged on was, yay, young people. Yay, young people. First of all, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
So my name is Ben. I just graduated from Center Grove High School, so I live here in Greenwood. Next year, I'll be attending Indiana University. I have a deep passion for government and politics and activism. So I'm going to be majoring in media and political science. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I'm all about.
I love it. I remember the first time we met, and you were excited to tell me what your majors are going to be. What sparked that passion for politics and communications for you?
Well, I've always been engaged with current events. Um, I can think back to when I was a little kid in 2016. Um, that whole campaign and race captivated me. I remember being super upset that somebody won, but um, that is kind of what I've just always had a passion for current events and the political process. Um, so yeah, I like to stay involved in that way.
That says a lot because that was 10 years ago almost,
Yeah,
and so that would have made you like 8 or 9, 9 or 10,
yeah.
something
I think
like
it was
that.
in I think it was in fourth grade. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is so dope that you have that passion. So, why did you decide to become a volunteer with Indivisible?
so over the in back in November, I had done some work with my local Democratic Party here in Johnson County. But after the election, they kind of went dark in some ways. They didn't really have a lot going on, and I still wanted to resist the MAGA agenda. I still wanted to be extremely involved, and so Ron Newland, who is the data director for the Johnson County Party, he's also um, connected with Indivisible, and he held kind of like a Indivisible Central Indiana interest meeting. I attended that, and I've been connected and volunteering with them ever since. So
I love it. So, Indivisible's been around for a little while. I tell the for the folks that aren't very sure, tell us about Indivisible and how what the origins of Indivisible was.
so Indivisible started in the last Trump term, and it's almost a it was made directly to combat MAGA policy and right wing extremist policies. We have big focus on electing progressive leaders. So, like coming up in 26, we're going to be looking to challenge a lot of people. And another big goal of ours is to advocate for systemic change. So, we really are just a grassroots group that's trying to fend off not only the extremist MAGA policies from the national government, but also here locally, our state government isn't much better, as you know. So,
No, not at all. And so,
yeah.
again, was there some type of appeal? Is there like an appeal for people who may not necessarily want to call themselves Democrats, and Indivisible just kind of offers a place for those folks to go?
Yeah, so one of the things Indivisible is all about is building alternatives. So we are a alternative to the Democratic Party in some ways. So it is definitely a place. If you don't want to be branded as a Democrat for whatever reason, Indivisible is definitely your home. But also, if you are a Democrat, I mean, I would consider myself a Democrat, and I'm involved with Indivisible. So it's for anybody that's left of center.
I love it. I love it. So one of the things that we in the party struggle with mightily, and I talk about it all the time, is the ability to engage our young people. Tell us. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to preach to you. I need you to preach to us. What are young people wanting to do? What are they needing from us? Or do they just need us to get out of the way? And how should we be communicating or allowing you all the space to communicate to get young people involved?
I would say it all starts at meeting young people where they're at. And right now, young people are on social media. And for some people, it's pretty much all they're on. So definitely Democrats need to have a much bigger presence on social media. That's not even really Democratic politicians. We just need to have, I don't really like to throw around this term, but we need a Joe Rogan of the left, so
I
to
got you.
speak.
I
Just
tried. I just ain't that evil.
yeah, but we just need to kind of break through in social media. We need to flood the zone with left leaning content. And I would say a pretty good example of someone who does this is Sohar Mamdani.
Mm.
His social media content is captivating, engaging, fast paced. And I think he's a true model that Democrats need to base themselves off. But yeah.
So do young people and I know you don't speak for all young people because I hate it when people ask me, well, what do black people think? I don't know. I can't tell you about all of them. But as a young person, how do you want to be led into leadership? Like eventually you want a leadership role, or maybe not. I don't know. But when you think about, I'm sorry, I'm not asking this right. How do you want to be mentored?
I think part of it is the older generations kind of do need to take a step back. I think there are definitely skill sets that they can bring to the table. There's definitely things that older generations do better and do well. But right now, I think it's taking a little bit of a hands-off approach, and just kind of enabling and supporting younger candidates, progressive candidates in any way that they can.
I feel that is kind of like my thing. Like I feel like as Gen Xers, we always had to wait our turn. And the boomers are still there. They haven't left yet, right? They're still in charge, we felt like we had to wait our turn, and now it's like, look, it's a little late for us. Like there are already two younger generations that are of voting age that are ready to get engaged, who have gone through vastly different experiences than we did, and I feel like we are not doing enough to like encourage young people to be involved. We are not doing enough. I feel like we're trying to hold on to perceived power. We don't have any real power in Indiana, And okay, so I'm an old person, and it's okay. We can call me old. I just had my 55th birthday, and I'm sitting down talking to you about what I need from you. What tell me? How would you say? Dana, look. This is what we want to do. Tell us what you guys want to do.
I think that a lot of it does actually go back to messaging and trying to brand the Democratic Party as trying to get back to our core values of a party for the working class and a party for everybody. And I think it almost kind of needs to be a mindset flip for the older generation, where they need to kind of be accepting of like, this is how the younger generation is going to come in and message through primarily social media, kind of getting away from more legacy media, although that does have its place.
Yeah.
But still, like, just kind of giving us the keys, I would say, in some ways.
So now I got to play the devil's advocate a little bit here. Some of us in the older generation will say, well, one, y'all ain't got no money. It takes money to run some of the things, and that's where the older people come in. And the other, what was the other thing? Oh, there was two. Yep, money, and I am drawing a blank. I had two thoughts. So how do you guys address the fact that and y'all don't vote? That's the other one. Y'all don't show up to vote. So how do you convince someone like, that some of us older folks said, hey, y'all ain't really got no money, because we see y'all don't have no money. We hear that some of you guys are having a hard time getting housing. You're having a hard time paying for your student loans. We see that these things are happening. So to run these organizations and to run campaigns, it takes money. And we also are seeing a low voter turnout. How do you, combat that type of conversation?
So I think it's definitely fair to say that young people are frustrated. They're frustrated that they can't afford things. They're frustrated that they can't afford housing. And the other part of that is they don't see politics as the means by which they could change those things.
Interesting.
The means by which they could afford housing. So they're like, young people are definitely disengaged. And I think part of that is they don't see themselves. They don't see representation. So a lot of it would come back to, like, if young people can see younger candidates and be like, okay, those, like, that guy, he understands that I can't afford anything, and he's giving me like policy that they're gonna implement to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So that really needs younger candidates, younger people that see themselves represented in our political process would definitely fix some of that.
So how do we get them turned out to vote? How do we? Is it because of that disconnect? Is why they don't show up to the polls at the numbers that we need them to?
Mm-hmm. It definitely could be. I think with the last election, you definitely saw a lot of. Obviously, there were turnout issues, but there was also issues with young people shifting to the right, especially young men shifting to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we look at those things, it's almost like you need to social media is what most of these kids are digesting.
Okay.
So you need to really flood the social media information zone with progressive content, because if all a kid sees, or if all voter sees is Republican messaging,
Mm-hmm.
the Republican messaging isn't being challenged, then that's what they're going to believe, and they're going to vote based on that belief. So a lot of it is just getting more young people into producing democratic content and progressive content.
I love that, because that is truly like how we combat that. I've heard a lot of young white males, especially, who are leaning more towards the right, when a lot of the economic issues that they have have been created by people on the right. And so, how does Indivisible attempt to solve some of the things that the party has been really bad at?
So I think one thing that we definitely excel at is collaboration. I think you kind of saw a shrinking of the the party's tent this last election, and so, like, we do a lot of collaboration with the Black Church Coalition. We do a lot of collaboration with ACLU of Indiana, and those are ways we're kind of becoming. I would say we're definitely trying to brand ourselves as much more inclusive, which is something I think maybe unintentionally the Democratic Party has done over the last few years is kind of close themselves off a little bit.
Interesting.
The other thing too, we do a lot of work educating constituents. So usually we'll have a couple virtual events every month. The last virtual event we had was a whole unpacking the big beautiful bill. We had Professor Sheila Anderson from IUI and Andrea Martin, who works on Andre Carson's staff.
Mm-hmm.
And they really went through all the provisions of the bill, broke it down, and educated people on it. So they actually know what we're against and what the issues are. The other thing that I think Indivisible does really well is we really do encourage people to contact your legislatures. Big emphasis on the 5 Calls app, which is a great way to not only call your legislator or your senator, your representative, but it'll also give you scripts or issues you're passionate about, and it'll give you scripts to read off of, just so you have more information and data on those things. And those calls are impactful.
I love that. I didn't even know that you guys were using that. I'm actually about to drop it in the chat so that I can reference it again later, the 5 Calls app. And so, guys, I'm just going to do a little plug here. In order to do this work, it takes money. And as you guys know, I try to turn every interview that I do into a digital fundraising opportunity. So Indivisible Central Indiana, their Act Blue link is in the chat. If you're liking some of the stuff that we're talking about today and you want to get involved and you have some coins that you can donate to Indivisible, click the link and donate. So as you guys are putting together these events, how do you recruit your volunteers? Is there a leadership order in Indivisible? Is there a chair or a president or something?
So for Indivisible Central Indiana, we don't really have any top-down leadership, which I think works in our advantage in a lot of ways. So if you are, if you do want to volunteer, and let's say you're really passionate about education in the state of Indiana, you can volunteer with us and you can pretty much set your own destiny in some ways. You can kind of be like, okay, here's some community events I want to organize that have to do with education in our state, and you can take the lead on those. And since we don't have a president or a chair, no one's really gonna, obviously you're gonna have people helping you and you're gonna be able to assemble a team and a network of volunteers. Um, you're not gonna really have a lot of people standing in your way
Mm.
or roadblocks.
I like that because one of the things I have to tell people in my party, you don't need permission to serve your community. And I think this is a great alternative for someone who sometimes feels like our party, and I say our because I'm smack dab in the middle of it. I'm not dissing my party, but sometimes we don't do things the right way, right? And so this is an alternative. And again, we're all fighting for the same issues. So talk about some of the volunteer opportunities that are available with Indivisible. Do you have like tell us what people could do?
Yeah, so some of our upcoming events, every Friday we partner with 5501 to have a weekly protest at the State House. Um, so we always have that going on. The second thing is if you are a veteran, we're organizing an event called Who's Your Veteran Speak Out. And basically what that is we're gonna get a bunch of veterans willing to share their testimony and their stories about how the MAGA policies have negatively affected them. And we're going to interview them and almost have sort of like, it'll sort of be like a documentary style interview. And then that'll get broadcasted and posted to all of our socials. There'll also be some sort of press conference event around that. So if you are a veteran, that's definitely something that you could get involved with. But also if you're just passionate about veterans issues, we'd love to have help with that. Another thing that we're going to be doing here pretty soon, and it's something we already did in early June, was we had visits with Todd Young's office.
Okay.
So our visits in June were all about the BBB, and we took groups of 4 constituents up into his office, and they were able to share what they most disliked about the bill, share their concerns, and surprisingly, Todd Young's staff was pretty receptive. I mean, the lady who was in our meeting, she was engaged, writing things down. And we are tentatively planning to hold another visit. And that focus, if you focus on anything you're passionate about, but I think the overarching focus of that will be the war in Iran. Mm-hmm. Making sure that Todd Young knows that Congress has the power to declare war and not Donald Trump.
Hello.
Yeah. So that'll definitely be some things coming up.
I love that because it sounds like, you guys are taking the initiative and saying, okay, this is going to be a people powered movement. We are the people. We're not worried about hierarchy and titles and all of that. We're just about the people. Do you get that sense as well? Because I feel like that's what I'm picking up on.
Oh yeah, we're all about constituent power. I mean, we really think that the voice of the people has weight here in this country. We really believe that advocacy through public forums and town halls, contacting your senator, your representative, those things are really powerful.
So as you guys are planning these things, how can people find? Are you guys on Mobilize or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have a Mobilize page, and that is how all of our events will be on there, and you can sign up through Mobilize. We also have our website, indivisiblecentralindiana.org. If you want to get involved more directly as a volunteer, you can email ici25.action@gmail.com.
Uh-oh, let me type that up again. Hold
Okay.
on, because I want to make sure we get that in there. Tell me again.
So
ICI 20.
.action@gmail.com.
All right, at Gmail. That way we have it in the chat, and then people can email you guys for more questions. I'm trying to find your Mobilize page because I think I love Mobilize. I think it is like one of the most amazing progressive tools that's out there. It's like ActBlue. It's a tool, right, to help us um, uh, connect with each other. And yes, ActBlue is your fundraising tool. Mobilize is your get engaged and volunteer tool. There was one other thing that before we went on the show that you said you wanted to talk about, and I think I forgot.
Um,
It had because we talked about young people and the and how important it is to get young folks engaged. We talked about, I forgot. See, that's what 55 gets you. That's why you need young people.
yeah.
Is there anything that we should be talking about that we haven't mentioned in regards to what Indivisible is doing?
I think if I would have to brand Indivisible in one way, it would be I feel like we're a gateway to resistance.
Ooh, I
So
like that.
obviously, we do organize like the No King's Day protest. You've seen we've organized those. Um, Also organize the hands off rallies. And protests are great. That's how we're seen. That's how we're made visible. But if you actually want to do the legwork of organizing and making sure that change happens and making sure that progressive candidates are elected, I think we're a great outlet for that as well.
I
So
love
that's
that.
what, yeah.
And guys, I think this is also just a way. I mean, listen, you know, when we see stuff happening around the state with the party, it can be frustrating. And I get that. I get frustrated too. But this is a way for you, if your convictions and your passions are indeed left of center, that doesn't mean you sit it out. You don't sit it
That's right.
out. You go find something else. There are other organizations, and so do you guys? Does Indivisible? Are you guys a C3?
I am not entirely sure.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is I'm curious to know if Indivisible does any partnerships with either the state party or any of our local parties.
I don't, we're not directly affiliated with
Got it.
our parties. No.
I got it. Got it. No, that's okay. I get it.
Yeah.
And that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Right?
In some ways it is.
Do you guys actually support candidates, or do you I found it. Ha. Do you guys like do an endorsement process for candidates?
So once 2026 rolls around, we will probably start endorsing candidates. Definitely. So yeah, definitely. Like I said, one of the four pillars of Indivisible is electing progressive leaders. So once 26 rolls around, we will start connecting with those candidates, campaigning with them, canvassing for them. So yeah, definitely. Once it gets a little closer to that time.
Good. So I asked that question now so that candidates can start thinking about who they want to partner with and network with. I know at Stonewall we would do days of action. Is that something that Indivisible does, where you'll mobilize your volunteers to canvass or phone bank for your supported candidates?
Yeah. So definitely we do have that collaboration aspect for sure. Yeah.
I love that because, again, people, this is we're giving you this information in June of 25 because our statewide candidates who are going to be running in 26 are going to start making their announcements soon, because you're going to need 18 months of hard work to unseat some of these statewide candidates, right? I'm talking, Secretary of State, and comptroller, I think, is one of them. And so they're going to have to get out here and start working now. And even if you're running for the state house and you're in a district, you're going to need to get out here and mobilize, get name recognition. So find organizations like Indivisible to help partner with you to get obviously you got to meet their criteria, whatever. But here are other ways for you to strengthen your campaign. Hello, here's a group of
Mhm.
volunteers ready to go.
Yeah,
I love that.
definitely connect with us because we will help you if you're a progressive candidate.
I like Indivisible. I've done some work. I've partnered with Indivisible myself. I think I did a rally or two, maybe.
Mhm.
But I think having this type of organization allows people a little bit more freedom because the party structure is very, very structured, right? And so, this is Indivisible is a great place to be outside the party structure and still fight for the same values, right? And that's what I find most attractive. Um, Give us a parting shot, something that we should be thinking about as we want to get engaged and then get involved with Indivisible. Give us some chunky, especially to the young people.
Yeah. So I would say if you're a young person, one of the big things that we're going to try to start doing is beefing up our social media presence. So we have an Instagram account, but if you would love to make some content for us, that's definitely something that you could do. I mean, at Indivisible, everybody leads. So if you're passionate, if you have a skill set and you have something to offer, take charge. Don't hesitate to ask for permission. Um, Definitely, you can go pursue that. But like I was saying, we are trying to beef up our social media content. So if you have skills making graphics, shooting videos, those are definitely things that we're going to try to start doing a lot more of here soon.
I love it. Ben, you are excellent, and congratulations on starting your political career off as a volunteer. You're starting young. I get excited. I think about Nick Roberts, who I met when he was in high school, and he was
Yeah.
running the Lawrence North Democratic Club, and that he had invited me to speak, and now he is the elected official on our city county council. The sky is the limit for anything that you want to pursue. I am encouraged by you, and hopefully, if you need something from me, I can deliver for you. But I just encourage you to keep just being out here, standing 10 toes down, and not letting folks that want to wag their fingers from the porch, keep you from your mission of getting people engaged. You're on to something good here, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love what I do. So,
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your night.
yeah, of course, you too.
All right. Y'all, the opportunity to get engaged is right there. It's right there. You don't need to wait on anything. Young people, he said, you guys need to see somebody else doing it and then y'all do it. Well, he's doing it. He's not even legal yet. And he is out here getting it done. I'm excited. I was really excited to talk. I met Ben a little while back, and it's cool to see these young people getting engaged. They're self-starters. They don't need you to do anything for them. They're just getting it done. So congratulations. Join Indivisible if you're not sure about being in the party, because the work is the work. Doesn't matter if you're a precinct committee person or a volunteer for Indivisible. There's an opportunity to knock doors. There's opportunity to talk to people about our policies, the left of center policies. There's an opportunity, right? This turn left is not sanctioned. Well, it is kind of sort of, but it's not wholly owned by the party. This is a Dana Black thing. But I work in collaboration with the party. I work in collaboration with all left-leaning organizations, right? So, guys, it's just another way for you to get involved. All right, so I was on Wish TV last week, and I was asked the question of, should I call for Mayor Hogsett's resignation? And my philosophy is, why? I mean, I get that he has mismanaged wholly and totally his predatory friend, Thomas Cooks, completely botched that. And I've talked about it. I've disclosed that. I've gone there with that. But asking him to resign is like asking the sun not to come up. He's not finna do it. I wish he would put the people over himself and just do what he needs to, do for the betterment of our city, because it's just weighing us down in Indianapolis. And I read an opinion piece about why Republicans aren't coming out more forcefully about his resignation. Republicans, y'all need to sit this one out. Y'all need to sit this one out, especially when you put a convicted rapist in the White House. So you got nothing coming. I can't even respect your opinion, really. I really can't. So this is family business right here. But out. That being said, there was a lot of bandwagon jumping and hair on fire, and they did this and they did that. And I mean, I know that the Monday night incident at council chambers was not a good look. I wish it had gone differently. I wish there had been a timeout, something, but it happened, right? And hopefully all involved will learn from it. But the the mudslinging and the accusations, I was directly asked, if Councilwoman Carlina's accusations had merit, or did, my thing was, did she have proof? And that's what I said on Wish TV. Did she have proof? If she has proof, she needs to share it. And then unfortunately, she then called into question the integrity of the president of the council, which I imagine didn't go over very well. So, guys, this is what happens when you don't have all the facts. You're running your mouth on a certain thing. You think somebody's doing something that they didn't do, or it became a much bigger mess. All of this happened all because Thomas Cooks was allowed to run around the Hawksett office, the Hawksett campaign, and harass women. Think about that. The real issue continues to be men behaving badly at work with their female co-workers. I don't understand, and I get all the other stuff. I get all the other stuff that was piled on, but the issue continues to be women just want to go to work without being harassed. They want to earn a paycheck on their merits, not because you're trying to get at them. So I ask all of you who cares about a woman, cares about somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's mother, somebody's aunt. When you see men behaving badly, call them out and don't let them get away with it. Hold them accountable. And this is a dude. Now, listen, I did see where the man got up and said that, he was inappropriately harassed at work. So, yes, women are capable of doing the same thing. But typically, and there's no buts, typically, women are not in the same positions of power. Not all the time. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But we do know that the rate of sexual harassment among men is significantly higher than it is among women. So we got to raise our sons better. We got to do better. And women should not be afraid to tell their story. They should not be afraid to tell their story because they won't be believed, because that's what actually happened. She went to tell her story, and the people that were in charge of Thomas Cook didn't do what they were supposed to do. So here we have all this other stuff. We got to pay for an investigation, tempers flared, a whole bunch of other stuff because Thomas Cook wanted to take advantage of somebody that worked for him. I hope that everybody learns their lessons about all of this, and ignoring charges like this, it just piles on more and more and more and more to the point where, our city council is falling apart. Our city county council is falling apart. You got people who voted for a convicted rapist to be president of the United States wanting to chime in on who should resign. Never go away. You got council people turning on each other, accusing them of behavior they didn't. Guys, cut it out. And you know how you cut it out? When somebody comes to you with an accusation, you investigate it. You take it seriously. I'm going to tell you a true story. I had someone do the same thing to me. I had somebody accuse me of inappropriate behavior. But there was an investigation done. And once the investigation was done, they said, yeah, that didn't go down like that. It can happen to anybody. I have been accused, yes. But the investigation was done. They took it seriously. I took it seriously. So I'm not just pointing fingers and saying this couldn't happen to me. Yes, it happened to me. But I'm trying to tell y'all, the difference is you ain't heard no other accusations, right? It's not 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 women coming up talking about Dana did this, Dana did that. No, it was one accusation. It was investigated and dismissed. Yes, it was terrifying. I was embarrassed. I was. So I'm wondering if Thomas is embarrassed. I'm wondering if Joe Hogsett is embarrassed for bringing Thomas Cooks back. I don't know. But people understand. Women just want to go to work. They just want to earn a paycheck. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. And if someone comes to you with an accusation, you take it seriously. Don't act like it's no big deal. Don't laugh it off like, whatever, she tripping, she bugging. Stop that. Because we know that there are predators everywhere. In every demographic, there are predators. Everywhere. Representative Bartlett has been working on human trafficking legislation ever since I've known him. Because there are predators everywhere. Take them seriously. Do not laugh them off. And hopefully, as we try to work our way through this, the right type of leadership will step up and say, this is not what we want. We don't want leaders who ignore the cries of women. And when they tell you that they've been inappropriately approached about a situation. You know, I didn't want to talk about it because it's hurtful, it's painful, and people that I care about have been targeted. And I don't want to seem like I'm taking one side over another. I know for a fact that Elise Schrock has been one of the most outstanding, hardworking Democrats that I've met. And she holds people accountable. And what I mean is, when I've messed up and I've made mistakes, because we all human, we make mistakes. Sometimes we don't see them right away, right? She called me up on the phone, said, Dana, yo, this ain't good. She didn't put me on blast on social media. She called me on the phone and said, sis, I know your heart's in the right place, but this ain't right. Annette Siegel-Gross, another one. When I didn't do something right, she called me on the phone. She says, Dana, you didn't handle that right. Because that's what you do when you care about somebody versus just trying to, and hold them accountable versus just trying to embarrass them in public. I am a better person because of Elise Schrock. And I'm a better person because of Annette calling me and saying, Dana, you probably shouldn't have done that. We all can be better. We all can do better. We all should be better. City County Council, get your act together. We are the economic hub and the engine that drives this entire state. I need y'all to be about the business of taking care of business. I'm not calling nobody out other than what I saw in the news and what people ask me directly. But we can do better, y'all. And we should be better. So I pray that my city gets it together. Anybody want to talk to me? Call me up. I'm easy to find. To those that have hurt feelings, to the women, to the survivors of Thomas Cook. Bro, I hope you get find the healing that you need. To the people who were triggered by the events at that council meeting, I hope you get the healing that you need. And I hope that not another young woman at the city county building, works for the city, or anywhere else in America or anywhere else on this planet have to think about doing anything other than their job when they go to work. All right, y'all. I know that was not like the high life for me to end the show on, but there are things that I'll say on my show that I won't say on Wish TV because, you know, I want them to keep having me back. But on my show, I can pretty much say what I need to say. But I'm echoing the same thing over and over again. I really am. And I stand 10 toes down. I'm not going to say, you know, what you may want me to say, but I'm going to say what I feel, the way I feel it. And honestly, the bigger issue is and will always be women being harassed by their male coworkers when they're simply just trying to earn a paycheck, and the men need to stop it. Do better. All right, y'all. I don't have a guest next week, but I might figure something out if y'all want me to have a guest. But I'm working on some things that I'm really excited about. In the meantime, remember, just because there are no elections this year doesn't mean you can't get mobilized. We can't stay on top of what's going on in the world, and we need to use our energy to get involved. There are already candidates that have already announced. Start donating, start volunteering, start getting that name recognition out there, start building community. Let's do this work now, right? So you're not scrambling this time next year. All right, I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.